Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. When it comes to getting rid of mosquitoes, these guys are the tops in East Tennessee. They have different treatment plans to meet your needs specifically. And if you somehow have skeeters around after they treat your yard, call them. They'll come right back out and take care of them. They make sure you're a satisfied client. That is why I like Southeast Termite and Pest Control. They have been around as long as I have, which is a long, long time. Good family-owned business. Okay. To remind you, we are counting down the biggest heroes and villains since the Sports Source launched in fall of 2003. The guys on this list each received at least 4 votes from our 5-man panel. Bob Hodge also had some votes. Here are your top 2 heroes. I think the Eric Berry one is obvious. Josh Dobbs. You probably get some folks out there that would debate that one because he had some folks that just weren't ever going to like him. But there's no question about Eric Berry that if you go back over the previous, and we didn't tally this as number 1 versus number 2. We just looked at the number of votes, and they got even votes. But if you look back since 2003, since we went on the air, I don't think there's any question. There's no debate that if you've got the biggest positive, it's Eric Berry. Agreed?
I agree.
I've covered Tennessee football a lot longer than this period, and I would put him up there right with Peyton Manning as the most excellent, college football players I've covered at Tennessee.
On and off the field, everything you'd want.
Yeah.
The way he handled the cancer situation and what he did, and I remember I was watching, I can't remember what show it was, but James Conner from Pitt was on there, and Eric Berry shows up.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
Ellen
the Ellen
DeGeneres
show.
to show his support for James Conner. I'm like, really? And then when he made that return to Kansas City and the reception he got, and the way they cheered him, the way he fought cancer, the way he battled that was inspirational to a lot of different people. I think Eric Berry's a no-brainer on this list. He was terrific.
And also, this is a guy who, as a senior, could have complained about the way Monty Kiffin was using him, because you're not going to get a bunch of stats when he's got you playing that kind of the hybrid role where you're part linebacker, part safety, the way he was using him up there.
Yeah.
But he went out and did it. Again, there's not much to be said about Eric Berry that isn't on the positive side.
And one more thing, changed his jersey number to honor Inky Johnson.
Inky Johnson,
That's
I was
right.
going to say that. And no Sean Marino sure remembers Eric Berry for the hit along the sideline there. And that's sometimes, it's not just on the field, but all of these guys, you can think of some of the plays they've made that you very rarely see other athletes make. And that makes them exceptional on the field, and like with Josh Dobbs,
Yes.
very, very, very much exceptional off the field.
Dobbs is another one who did, you constantly see him with people in the community, kids. He also was a great ambassador for the school on the educational front. Everyone knows what he was and what he majored in. But his athletic ability, this is a guy who's going to age like a fine wine, because you're going to see these Josh Dobbs highlights 10 years from now and go, holy smokes, I'd forgotten he did this and did that. There was one, it wasn't a big play. I think it was against Texas A&M, but it was the difference between not getting a first down and a first down. There's 2 guys closing in on him. He slides between them like he's going through elevator doors as they close. And I still don't know for the life of me. I mean, that's not in his top 50 plays, but I remember seeing that saying, is he covered in oil? How did he get through those guys and not get tackled? As a player, you wonder where would Tennessee have been these last few years offensively without him?
By the way, that was an engineering move.
There you go. Yeah,
It was aerodynamic.
In his mind, he knew exactly how to move.
I'm with you, because I'm thinking the further you get away from the Dobbs era, the more he's going to be appreciated. The records that he set as a rusher, but the one-loss record. Remember where Tennessee had been for so long, and then for him to deliver 2 9-win seasons, and also late in his senior year when the defense was horrible, the offense was going to have to outscore everybody, and they did. In some cases, there were a couple they didn't, but for him to have to go out there and play the way he did and put up the numbers he did when you knew the defense wasn't going to get it done, I just think that says a lot about
And
Josh
a
Dobbs.
lot of times, guys, the things that I think will really stand out to me was the way he was able to improvise, and like you're talking, John, without taking hardly any hits at all, it seemed like. But it wasn't like Tennessee called a great play most of the time, and he executed it. A lot of times, I think he made something closer to out of nothing. And that's what I think you're going to really appreciate, because Tennessee better have some better plays.
I've said that it's the Twitter difference. He was very much like Condrich Holloway.
Exactly.
But if Twitter had been around with Condrich Holloway, they would have said, well, the record was this, and he didn't get it done here. That's the, you pick people apart now, and that sticks with them, because nobody's perfect. I mean, but this guy, if he had played 30 years ago before Twitter, people would be naming their kids Joshua. I mean, because he was that kind of electric athlete. Let's quickly, the next two on our villains list, okay?
Wow.
Yeah, it's funny. Two Saban assistants, one you hired and turned out to be awful. Lost games, wasn't great recruiting, a smart aleck, the Aaron Douglas situation, mishandled the Jansen Jackson situation. Just Derek Dooley was a nightmare.
And Attleboro.
And then you try, and then you try to get Will Muschamp. He turns you down. The next year then goes to Florida. 5-0 against Tennessee in both
Yes.
Florida and South Carolina. 4 at Florida, 1 at South Carolina. Dooley and Muschamp on the loser list, on the villain list, I should say.
Hard to argue with that. And one of those Muschamp teams at Florida that beat Tennessee was 4-8. Another one was like 7-5. So yeah, and just Tennessee's inability. And then Dooley just one reason I put him as a bigger villain than Kiffin was he was there 3 years.
Yeah.
So it didn't take you 1 year to. He took 3 years, and he just kind of messed everything up. But that it was amazing, really, how incompetent he was as Tennessee's head coach.
Yeah,
Silence.
No, you're
silence
you're
in
right. It's a good point. They're both Saban assistants. There they are paired on that list, and really for different reasons. Muschamp for winning against Tennessee, Dooley for losing at
And
Tennessee.
Even last year with South Carolina, we got to catch a break. But you talked about the offense had to be there. The one bad game that Dobbs didn't play was South Carolina, and it was against Muschamp. Here's the thing. I don't know that he's as big a rube as he's been made out to be. That 4-8 season at Florida, Tennessee did better. Butch Jones did better with all the injuries, but they were racked that year. But that's a guy who won 11 games 1 year at Florida. So I don't know that he's the complete clown. If you're a Tennessee fan, you shouldn't say he's a clown because he beats you all the time.
Exactly.
And he also turned you down. I mean, people forget Tennessee went and offered him a truckload of money, and he said, "No, not after Kiffin. That's a bad situation."
And then who'd they hire after he turned you down?
Yeah, Dooley.
That's a double whammy.
Yeah,
He
completely.
turned you down, you hired
And then he
another
turns
one.
out and beats Dooley. It's just
Hey, Dooley.
just piled on top of each other. All right, when we come back, we've shown you all the heroes, the 4 biggest villains.
More villains.
More villains. We got 4 left. They got on just about everybody's list. We'll show you. Come on back.